This time 2 years ago, I spent 3 days gathering all my motivation to prepare for GCSEs, and I started my revision on February 1st. So I'm going to tell you guys an in-depth video on how to find that motivation, when to start and how to start. Okay, so first of all, motivation. So this can be very personal to you. So I'm going to share as much general tips as I can. The first thing is you really have to think about what you want. So I never really knew what I wanted to get in GCSEs. I didn't really know what I was capable of. So I really decided that my goal was to get all 8s and 9s. I didn't go for all 9s because I knew some subjects I was weaker on, but I set out that I was going to get 8s and 9s no matter what. And then I thought about why I wanted this. So I thought about how I really wanted to have people feel really proud of me. I know they would anyway, but I really wanted to impress people. Like, I know that is debatable, but I just did want to be able to say that I'd done that and know that that was an achievement that I'd achieved myself. I was then really obsessed with the fact that I had to sit these exams no matter what. I just couldn't believe that, like, there was no way of getting out of them. I had to sit them. Obviously I could believe it, but I just really got that into my head that, like, these were happening, they were real, and in however months time I will be sat in those exam hall doing them. And I just thought to myself, I was like, there's no way of getting out of it, and I only have to do it once in my life, and at this point there's only like 4 months left. Like, it's 4 months of my entire life. I may as well do my absolute best and just see what I can get. I was like, I don't want to come out of them thinking, oh, I probably could have done better, or oh, I was sat on my phone on TikTok too much, so that's why this grade is like that, but realistically it should have been like this if I put in the work. Like, I would have hated to feel like that, and obviously I don't feel like that now because I got what I got, so I knew that that's how I'd feel. I also just kind of thought, like, again, like having to sit the GCSEs, I also have to go through this period up to them. Like, why wouldn't I spend it revising? Because I know I'm just going to feel guilty if I'm not revising. And also, like, I may as well see how good I can do. And then I know that when I've done my best, I can't feel bad about the grades no matter what, because I know that I would have put in my absolute hardest work. And also, I would have spent these months doing what I know I should be doing. Does that make sense? I also, sorry, I'm giving you so much here. I hope this is helpful rather than waffly. I also hate the feeling of being in an exam and not knowing what to write. So once I started revising for my year 10 mocks, and then I revised my year 11 mocks, and I realised, like, wait, when I actually revise, like, the exam's not that bad because I actually know what to write down. I was like, it's kind of, I wouldn't say addicting, but it does force me to revise more, because I'm like, there's no way I want to be sat in that history exam with a 1-line question in front of me and lines to write. You know, I want to have something to write and not feel lost and confused, because that's just so overwhelming and stressful. And obviously there's personal things, like whether it's a college you want to get into, whether it's you want to beat someone because you think that they don't believe in you, or you want to prove yourself to someone, or if you think about people you don't like or who don't like you doing better than you, does that motivate you? All of those kind of things, which are a little bit more personal. But yeah, I've just spent ages telling you motivation tips. I hope those do help. I would also say, just a last little thing about motivation, is once you do start, you will gain the discipline. People always say it's discipline, not motivation. I do agree with that, but it has to start with motivation. And once you do like 1 day of studying or 2 days back to back, you will want to do it more often. I know it sounds crazy, but once you start, you will want to do it more often, because you will see how it benefits you, and you'll also see that it's actually working, and you'll kind of start to feel a little bit, not guilty, but you will feel like, oh, I should be revising because I could do it yesterday, so why can't I do it now? Like, if I build up a routine, if I do 3 days now and then do another 3 days, I would have already nearly done a week of revision. And just think, like, if I'd have started a week ago, I'd feel so good now. So why don't I start now, so in a week I feel so good? Second is when to start. So obviously I'm going to make this one quick. I started the 1st of February. It just worked for me because I had mocks in December. I took all of January off to just chill, and then found my motivation over the last few days. Literally was just really thinking about what I wanted to get and kind of thinking about how to revise for each subject. And then I got started on the 1st of February, little and often. I didn't start on the 1st of February doing hours and hours and hours, but I started building it up and making it part of my weekly daily routine. Third is how to start. So obviously I can't go into how to start for every single subject because it will take too long. However, what I will say is, first of all, find a specification for each of your subjects. This is just on the exam board website. It's the same for history as it is for biology, etc, etc. They can't ask you anything that's not on that specification. So what I did in order to get started was I kind of tried to look at it from a broader view and think, look, it does seem like a lot of content, but realistically, if I can just learn this all over the next 4 months, then I will know everything. And I tried to trick myself and trick my brain and like wire my brain into thinking that it actually wasn't that much content, even though obviously I'm not saying it's not a lot of content. I know GCSEs are a lot of content. However, if you really look at it and really think, right, and you can condense it down to say, okay, so in biology there's these 5 topics for this, 5 topics for this, 5 topics for this, and obviously there'd be like subtopics within, but if you're like, if I dedicate my time to learn each and every one of those, I will know all of biology. That's just an example, but yeah, get the specifications out, figure out what's in those papers, and try and trick your mind into thinking it's not a lot. Then you're going to go through it and figure out how you want to revise for each one. I have so many videos on my page explaining how, and I can do more. Once you've done that, you're going to write down how you're going to revise for each subject. Whether maths, I'm going to do past papers, English, I'm going to watch videos and make flashcards. Everything is just for now. Stop thinking about the bigger picture, what you can do when you get to the exam. Think about now. Do I need to make mind maps now? Do I need to make flashcards now? Do I need to learn what my weaknesses are? So are you going to go through specification and do a question on everything in maths and see what you're bad at, for example? And then I would just say the way to get started with revision is always to just get started with making your resources that you still need to make. Like, that's just the genuinely easiest thing I can say to you, is just to say, right, okay, so I need to finish off flashcards for this, this and this, for all of these gaps in the specification that I have no resources for, and just to get started with those resources. And this can be really easy revision at the start. You can put on a show in the background, play some lovely music, and just take your time making your notes. I know people will heavily disagree with that and be like, no, revision needs to be active. Completely agree. Revision should not be making pretty notes or watching a show. However, if that's what it's going to take for you to get started within your revision for the first couple of days and just figure out what you want to do, and that's the only thing that's going to motivate you to do it, because I know it just seems so big and scary and overwhelming when it feels like so much content and so many difficult like aspects to it. If you just go, okay, for now I'm just going to finish off making, I don't know, Inspector calls my maps on the characters, and you just make those, and then you're like, okay, that I've done one of those, I'm going to do the other one tomorrow, so now I'm going to move on to a maths like a video, and I'm going to make notes in the video and figure out whether I know how to do this formula or not. And then you're going to do that. Take it very simply and then ramp it up once you get to know how you revise, and then you can start doing the blurting and the past papers and the active recall. But at first you can just take it slowly, because that is better than nothing, and that will get you into the routine, that will give you the motivation, and it also just does help. I mean, making resources that you can later learn from is better. I'm not saying spend 5 months making pretty notes. However, if you need to spend the first few days doing that to get into the routine of revising, then that's what I would say. This video has been so long and I'm not going to edit it, so I hope that it was all fine, and there's not little random clips in there, but I hope this helped, and yeah, just ask me any more questions and I'll make it my mission to answer them.